change. Everybody loves it, particularly if you're a gamer. They never ever complain if something is not the way that it used to be. Yes, I'm obviously kidding when I say that, but ladies and gentlemen, Marvel's Spider-Man is a game that is riddled with change. It is one of the most controversial aspects of the game in general, is the fact that between its original version in 2018 on the PlayStation 4 and the remaster that we later then received for the PlayStation 5, a major change occurred. Peter went from looking like this to looking like this, which is a pretty substantial difference. But it seems like that trend of changing what characters look like will not stop with Peter Parker himself. And so in today's video, we're going to take a look at the evolution of these characters. We're going to take a look at Peter Parker, Harry Osborn, MJ Watson, and of course, Miles Morales. So let's begin with the star of the show, and that would be Peter Parker himself. Yes, as I mentioned before, Peter did start out looking like this in Marvel's Spider-Man, and this was his original look, which was actually based on John Bubniak. And then when we received the Marvel Spider-Man remaster, he was actually changed to look quite a bit different, now being based on Ben Jordan. Now, the official explanation for why this change was made from Insomniac Games basically said that they were trying to get a better match to Peter Parker / Spider-Man's actor Yuri Lowenthal's facial capture. So they were kind of having, I guess, a tough time matching up his facial acting or facial capture acting and John Bubniak's original look. And of course, if we fast forward to present day with Marvel's Spider-Man 2 knocking at our door, ready to release, we have a look at what Peter now looks like in Marvel's Spider-Man 2. And worry not, he's still based on Ben Jordan. There's no substantial difference like there was between the remaster and the original release. However, he now does sport a much older look. He seems to rock a bit of a different haircut as well. And you can certainly spot a little details like more wrinkles on the face and things like that to try to age the character up a bit more, which makes sense because he's in that mentor role for Miles. But here's the interesting thing, is that I did not want to just showcase the evolution here. I wanted to hear from you guys. So what I did is, over the course of the last week, I've been asking a bunch of community polls over on my channel where I was asking you guys as to which look do you like best? Which of the Spider-Man looks did you prefer most for Peter Parker? And interestingly enough, or maybe not so much, here are the final results. So over 139,000 of you participated in this poll, letting me know that your favorite look is still the original Marvel Spider-Man look. I mean, that is an overwhelmingly solid lead for John Bubniak. However, it is also very interesting that Marvel Spider-Man 2's Peter Parker is actually firmly ahead of even Marvel Spider-Man's remastered look. So it seems like the updates that have been made to the new look for Peter Parker are actually being liked by the community, as they preferred quite overwhelmingly so to the original Ben Jordan look. So next, let's jump to our next Spider-Man, and that is going to be Miles Morales, who's in a bit of a different boat because, of course, Miles really is a character that seems to kind of have aged up through the story and not have had quite as much of a significant differences as we saw with Peter Parker, or we'll see with characters like Harry Osborn. So we obviously first meet Miles in Marvel's Spider-Man before he ever actually gets bit by a spider or gains any sort of superpowers, where we see this original look on the character. Fast forward to Marvel's Spider-Man Miles Morales. He's got quite a bit of an update. Looks very substantially different. This was one of the things that was kind of controversial at the time, is that people felt like they kind of aged up Miles past Peter to where he actually looked older than Peter Parker did, which was a bit controversial at the time. However, I think like that is going to be resolved as an issue with Marvel Spider-Man 2's update. And speaking of which, Marvel Spider-Man 2's look has also now been revealed. We actually got to see him multiple times during the story trailer sporting a brand new haircut. And so now I'm sure you guys would love to know, what did the community vote on as far as Miles's look? And here are the final results. It looks like people actually most prefer the look from Marvel Spider-Man Miles Morales, with 64% of the vote going to that particular version of Miles. Some people do quite like the Marvel Spider-Man 2 look though, giving it 34% of the vote. And it seems like people were not fans of Miles in Marvel Spider-Man, or at least the look that he had in that game, with only 2% of the vote. Next up, we have MJ Watson, aka Mary Jane Watson, who, just like Peter, seemingly has received one heck of an update between Marvel's Spider-Man and Marvel's Spider-Man 2. Now, of course, unlike Peter and Miles, she does not actually appear in Marvel's Spider-Man Miles Morales, at least in a cutscene or anything like that. So because of that, we don't have a look to compare for that title. However, obviously we have plenty of scenes and very beloved missions.
Wait!
So we have a pretty good idea of what the character obviously looked like and the design for Mary Jane Watson, and then enter the look from Marvel's Spider-Man 2, which is a substantial, in my personal opinion, upgrade. And it seems like most of you guys agree as well, at 81% of the vote going with Marvel's Spider-Man 2's redesign for Mary Jane Watson, preferring it over the original look that we had for the character. It has been kind of controversial in regards to her evolution as a character, because Insomniac vouches and says that theirs is still the exact same face model, which I just cannot believe. Like, yes, I know that a lot of people say, hey, haircuts make a huge difference about how a face looks, and I agree to that. I understand that that's a valid point. However, I do feel like the overall look for Mary Jane here is quite substantially different. Like, the actual cheekbone placement looks somewhat different. The jawline looks different. The nose looks different. So I feel like those are the sorts of things that don't change, quote unquote, because of a haircut. However, it does seem like everyone agrees that it is an upgrade. And last but certainly not least, Harry Osborn. My goodness, you want to talk about a character that looks way different? Well, actually, I guess with Harry, it's even more extreme than any of the other characters we've talked about here so far, because not only does Harry look different, but he'll sound different, because we actually have a brand new voice actor portraying him now in Marvel's Spider-Man 2. But back to the point at hand, and that is the design, or the evolution of the design of Harry Osborn. Now, we don't have any cutscenes to go off of for Harry Osborn in Marvel's Spider-Man 1, unless if you want to talk about the post-credit cutscenes, but that's kind of difficult to judge as far as what the character actually, quote-unquote, looks like. But we do, of course, have this image that is notoriously famous at this point of what Harry did used to look like before his illness struck him and his relationship with the symbiote began. And then, of course, if we jump to Marvel's Spider-Man 2, it is a completely different looking character. Just like what we saw with Peter, it seems like Harry, being his best friend, is replicating a very similar experience where he's going to look completely different to what we initially perceived him to look like, getting a brand new character model altogether and a brand new voice. It seems like this time Insomniac can rest easy, because unlike what the experience was with Peter Parker, people actually quite like the evolution of Harry Osborn here, going with this particular look from Marvel's Spider-Man 2 as their preferred design, with 84% of the vote. That is a very dominant lead for the new design for Harry Osborn. So there you go, guys. That's the evolution of some of our main heroes and possibly villains in Marvel's Spider-Man so far. I do find it hilarious that the one character that seems to have a through line so far is the one and only Norman Osborn. He looks the exact same. I actually think that him and it might be J. Jonah are the only ones that are still identical in their appearances. But now it's time for you to use the comment section down below to voice your thoughts. Let me know down below, what did you think of the evolution of some of the designs of Marvel's Spider-Man so far? And of course, if you guys enjoyed today's video, please don't forget to hit the thumbs up button, subscribe if you haven't yet, and make sure that you do check that community tab so that you can participate in future votes and polls that I post on there. Thanks all for watching. And of course, guys, if you'd like to check out an absolutely brilliant video showcasing 10 incredible details for Marvel's Spider-Man, please check out the video you're currently seeing on your screen.